Okay, it's a quick video for myself, Harvey Goldman. No cuts, no edits, no filters, and no hair. And so for today's video, I want to talk about falling in love. So not the type of love that you're probably thinking about. This is basically love after 50, and not that kind of love after 50. It's not about relationships. Basically, it's about career growth, about fulfillment, self-worth, personal growth, and loving yourself, basically. So let's get into it. I mean, why does this even matter? Why does it matter after 50 particularly? Well, I think mainly it's because around this time in life, people get career burnout. I think that you probably start to feel a bit undervalued. And most importantly, as I have done over the last couple of years, you reassess your priorities. Different things that weren't relevant to your life or your situation or even your goals, they suddenly become more important, maybe even urgent. I think many people over 50 start questioning careers, and after decades of working, burnout is real. Long hours, the feeling of being stuck, wondering if the daily grind is even worth it, if you're actually getting ahead. We know that the job market, it definitely doesn't favor older workers. Ageism is a real thing. For many companies, they put onus and priority on younger employees, mainly because A, they're more malleable, and B, they're far cheaper. Financial worries can play a big part of it as well. Obviously, at around 50-ish, many people are still paying off mortgages. That's going to become a thing more than ever. Trust me. They're saving for retirement in earnest where they may not have been before. Or they're even beginning to support their own kids financially. And trust me, that's going to be a thing even more and more that we're going to hear about. I mean, if you're miserable at work, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? This stage of life for most people is often a massive wake-up call. It's a shot across the bows. Do you really want to keep doing this for another 10 or 15 or even 20 years? Or is it time to rethink how you work and also, of course, how you live? So what are the signs that you're in a job that's draining you? I mean, the obvious one is going to be physical exhaustion. Another one is mental stress. And another one, especially for myself, is lack of motivation. You just don't feel like you've got the get up and go. In fact, some mornings without coffee and without vitamins and pre-workout, I reckon that my get up and go will probably have got up and gone. And that's the truth. Most people, they wake up every day, they dread work, they dread the next morning. It's not just Monday blues anymore, it's everyday blues, and it's mental. There are physical signs of burnout. You get people that have got fatigue, they get stress headaches, muscle pains. Myself, I have trouble sleeping, and have done for a long time. And these are very real physical effects that you can feel. You can get mental health decline. You get anxiety. You might get irritable and crabby where previously you weren't. You might feel like you're trapped in a job that doesn't bring you any satisfaction. You don't feel valued. Your experience, your skills, everything that you've got to offer basically gets overlooked. And younger, less experienced and cheaper colleagues, they often get promoted ahead of you, because even then their promotion is probably going to cost less than giving you a pay rise after all you've put in and your time served at the company. So basically, you've lost all motivation. You're just going through the motions. You're waiting for retirement. But that could be years away. And certainly at 50, it is. 15 to 20 years for most people. So can you still change careers after 50? So let's have a look at the myths, I guess, versus what is probably a harsh reality. So the myth is that, I guess, nobody hires older workers. So the reality of that is that ageism definitely does exist, but there are still many companies out there that do actually value experience over youth. They are probably going to be based in areas like consultancy, coaching, and the more niche fields, but they are out there. You just do have to look for them. The drawback is obviously, again, that these are going to be hotly contested positions. So you need to make sure you've got all your ducks in a row and that you are the best candidate for the job. Another myth that it's basically too late at 50 to learn new skills. Now, the reality of this is that with the advent of the internet, with online courses, certifications that can be done at a distance, training programs that are now widely available, more so than ever before, within many different industries. There are always going to be industries out there that need experienced workers, and you can level yourself up. So it's not all doom and gloom. Another myth is that basically starting over is going to mean lower pay. Now, the reality is that yes, in some cases, this is the case. But many people who pivot find better paying, less stressful work. Things like freelancing, things like side hustles, or even passion projects, whatever it might be. There are options. I think the biggest challenge that most people face, especially late 40s, early 50s, or even later, is fear. It's fear. It's fear of change, fear of failure, fear of financial instability at a pivotal time in your life. But the reality is that doing nothing is far worse. Doing nothing is just literally giving up and accepting your lot. And that's not the way to play these cards. So self-worth, beyond work, you can find hobbies, you can self-improve, you can get your personal fulfillment that way. Many people do tie their entire identity to their job, and I've been guilty of this myself for a time. So when they start hating their work, in effect, they hate themselves. They feel worthless. Your hobbies matter. Your interests matter. Stuff you do outside of work matters as much as the stuff that you do inside of work. Whether it's writing or music or gardening or fitness or, Christ, even volunteering. Having a life outside work basically helps you rebuild your self-worth. You need to invest in personal development, even if it's not a monetary investment, even if it's a time investment. Things like reading, learning new skills, even starting a small side business, they all reignite passion and give you motivation, and this can play into your 9 to 5. Mental health should always be prioritized. Medication, exercise, social connections, self-care, all of these things can make a massive difference. Very often they get overlooked. So how do you fall back in love with your work? Again, can you adapt your role? Can you get new skills that are going to give you a mindset shift? It might be that you need to reinvent your job. It might be that you can go to your current employer, you can renegotiate your employment. You might be able to give yourself different responsibilities that play more to your strengths. Shifting roles within your company may be an option. Obviously, you can upskill yourself, and I'm massive on that. I'm a firm believer in doing better, being better, and this will equal having more. So learning something new, even within your current industry, can make work far more engaging and open doors to better and more profitable opportunities. You can embrace mentoring. Sharing your experience with younger workers can give you a renewed sense of purpose, which is obviously hugely important. But it is important also at the same time to set boundaries. And if you feel you get work creep, where it starts to take over your life, scale it back. If it's financially possible or viable to do so, because it will pay dividends in the long term. Obviously, this might improve your quality of life. It might give you the free time to do some of the reinvention of yourself or the upskills that you need to be able to further your career, if you like. So knowing when to quit and when to adapt. And these are two kind of very, very important, I guess, stages that you might get to. So if your job is causing you serious mental or physical harm, obviously it's time to quit. It's time to just quit, throw in the towel and find something more appropriate. Facts. if you hate everything about your field, a complete career change is probably going to be the best option. However, if you still enjoy a few aspects of your job, but you just feel a bit overwhelmed, making small week on week, month on month adjustments, if you can bear it, might be just enough to rekindle that passion. If you're only staying there for the money, then obviously building a side income is eventually a way to give you an escape plan. And I'm massive on side incomes. You know that I bang on about side hustles all the time on this channel, how important it is to have parachutes, how important it is to have options. And it is going to become more prevalent in society as the next few years go on. We've got a budget that's coming up in the next weekish. That's surely going to throw everything on its head. And I think Rachel from accounts is probably going to drop a load of bombs on us. And we've got to work with the cards that we've got in most cases. But I think a wise man once said, it's not the cards you're dealt, it's how you play them that matters. And I think we should all be probably listening to those words. So what are your thoughts on this? What's your experience of this? Are you in this rut where you're maybe approaching 50 or you're perhaps just over 50 and you're at this kind of crossroads in your life where it's time versus job and skills versus pay, and there are lots of questions and very few answers. It might be that you've even got to this point a lot younger. You might be in your 30s and you feel like this. But let me know in the comments. Really keen to find out what your experience of this is. Really keen to find out if I'm the only one. YouTube's going to put another video up here somewhere. Check it out. You might like it, you might not. And yeah, like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. Another video tomorrow. Goldman. Peace out.